So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome back to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Took a bit of a break, which I think was for sanity reasons more so than anything else, I think, over the last week or so. I've been living it up in a country house estate. Yeah.
Very nice.
Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that? Where I was, there was no phone reception. It was fucking blissful, is all I have to say. No phone reception. I had to go outside my room to get Wi-Fi. It was brilliant. And they had only one TV in the pub as well, in the bar in the hotel, which was excellent as well, which meant, we had a TV in the room and I did watch the Irish game, meant I got very little news. And I was the happiest person in the Northern Hemisphere for the last couple of days. But I'm back. I'm back now again. And I suppose, look, a lot has happened. A lot has happened, Paddy. And I think that's really where I'm going to need to lean upon your expertise, I think, and maybe what you've seen, because you've actually been to live football over the last since I've seen you last. Well, I don't know what you call a football at some stages, but you've been to two rousing 1-1 draws like only international football can give you. Talk to us about those.
Like only Irish international football can give you.
Yeah.
I won't get too much into the games themselves, because obviously there's a lot of people that won't have any interest in what happened in those games. But it's great to be back inside a stadium, albeit socially distanced still here in Ireland. So we're only on half full. So the stadium probably would have only been half full anyway, as it is for international football. But it meant you had to sit a few seats away from your mates and stuff like that. So look, it was all good. Just a bit strange that the four of us get into the car, drive up from Limerick to Dublin, and then have to get out and separate at the match.
That's crazy.
Haven't been in a car breathing in the same air, but look, it's that's the way it is. That's the way the world has gone. But it was good to be back. The matches were absolute shite. Like, I didn't enjoy it at all. But it's all the start of the process, and I've booked 2 trips to go and watch my beloved Aston Villa, would you believe?
Talk to us. You didn't even tell me this beforehand, Paddy. The jealousy levels are flying out. Like, if you can't see, I actually hate you inside. Yeah, but I'm going to smile through it as well. So, I booked it. I'm going to Wolves in middle of October, and I've booked flights for Spurs away. So, fingers crossed. All going well, we can get to the 2 of them, and that'll be the start of the long road back to watching Villa playing. So something to look forward to, and it's probably given me a little bit of a lift in the last few days, to be honest, to know that that's coming around the corner. And I'm looking forward to getting over and having a few beers and getting back to somewhat reality and singing songs and getting drunk and falling down and going to bed and getting up with a hangover and curing the hangover with a few cheap shite carling and into spoons, into other spoons, and just have a feew or whatever, and then feel great about yourself. But 1 o'clock again,
when I'm drunk again.
exactly. No, geez, to be honest with you, I'm supremely jealous of you, because there's can't get decent broadband where I live. Yeah, exactly. That's dead right.
You're talking about me.
Right. No, I can't get decent broadband where I live either. I think that's an Ireland thing. But I'm supremely jealous, because I would love to have gone over to a game this month, or maybe not this coming month, because it's like the canyon of death, really, I suppose, really, with an awful lot of games that we have going on. But hopefully we get over after Christmas. I have a couple of family things coming up soon that I'm sure I won't be able to not post about online when they do happen. But I must say, actually, for our Team Sheet Tantrum this weekend, I will be doing it live from a pub in a place called here somewhere. Is where I'm going to say. First of all, I'll be doing it for a pub because I won't be here. I'm having one last night out with a couple of my mates before before our big life-changing event. And then, as I say, I will be doing the team sheet tantrum from a pub and watching it in said pub at some stage on Saturday. But that's all for later. But anyway, less about our social lives, less about our private lives, less about all that stuff, and specifically international football from an Irish point of view. Let's switch to Southern Hemisphere, South American football, because I think I'll have to go a long, long way to find something as absolutely mental as went on in Brazil, in Sao Paulo on, can't even remember what night it was. Was it Monday night? Sunday night. Yeah. Paddy, talk to me about that, like, because I saw it happen in, like, I basically on Twitter. Like, is everybody absolutely incompetent, or what's the story?
Well, let's preface this by saying that the match took place in Brazil, and anybody that watched what was going on in Brazil when COVID landed in the first place will tell you that the president and the prime minister, or wherever he's called in Brazil, didn't give a rat's arse about COVID. So for all this to land now, when they were down a load of players and in the shit against Argentina, just speaks to me a little bit of cause a little bit of a rumpus here, and we might get the 3 points out of it, because these guys. Now, look, there's been a lot of he said, she said, allegedly declaring that Aston Villa played Brentford in Estonia was the funniest thing I heard over the weekend.
I think that's nonsense. That has to be nonsense, because, like, I have to do a quick Google check, like, you know.
You'd hope so, but so I'll be honest with you. I had been obviously at the match on Saturday night. So Sunday night, I went for a few scoops with my wife, and the match was kicking off above my head and didn't really care about looking at it. We were just having a chat and a few drinks and whatever. And next thing, my son messaged me, do you see what's going on in with Emi Martinez? So obviously I looked up at the telly, but because the match had been abandoned, they'd switched over to another game in the pub, so we couldn't see what happened. So I was just going off what I think it was Tim Vickery was on Sky Sports News later that night, but it's just an absolute mess. So it looked like the four. Well, I don't think our other Emi Buendia travelled, so it was only 3 players, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was only the 3 players, like, which is even stranger again. So, like, Emi Buendia is left in Argentina, and he didn't get on the squad for the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lionel Scaloni seems like a bit of, like, I don't know, might be a fine coach or whatever like that, but he didn't give 2 shits about the gentleman's agreement Aston Villa had with the Argentinian FA.
Mm.
And he was very vocal about it. And you know what? We've got games coming up in October, Paddy. We've got games coming up in October. And if Argentina can't even be bothered to figure out what the actual quarantine rules are, like, a lot of people are saying, oh, Brazil were in the wrong, Martinez was in the wrong. Like, they're saying players are wrong. Players aren't in the wrong here. Okay, the thing about the Estonia thing, show me hard evidence of that before I'm going to believe it. All right, you can look, that's a big bonk. Like, of all the things that went on, that's unbelievable. Okay, it's unbelievable as well that people would storm the field and try and arrest the players. That's pretty unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable as well that these guys as well, and Visa or whatever, were that Argentina apparently locked a dummy room. And then Visa were waiting outside there, and Argentina were driving around Sao Paulo, like something out of fucking, I don't know, like,
catch me if you can.
Yeah, like the Italian Job or something like that, and or the French Connection, whichever one it is, the Italian Job, I think it is. Like, I just imagine them driving around in like different buses and trying to like, all this stuff is madness. It's a madness. These players are high profile. Everyone knows where they're staying. The amount of entourage that they would have had to move with them is massive. There is no way that a lot of this could have happened, that they could have evaded the authorities to this level. Show me hard proof of it. That's all I say. That I can believe. I cannot believe the Estonia thing. The Estonia thing to me is unbelievable. But where I'm going with this is that Lionel's, like, the Argentinian FA, and I saw some people say, oh, Aston Villa were too nice. Don't believe that either. Aston Villa had to do what they had to do. Spurs did what they had to do as well. If you want to believe that, if people want to believe that, that's fine. I personally don't believe it. But I think the Villa won't be as nice the next time. I think that because I think
Probably
this
not.
has been an embarrassment for our club.
Is it an embarrassment for a club? Do we know there was a gentleman's agreement? Has
Christian
that been
Perslow
said?
said it.
Did he actually say that they were only going to play 2 games? I didn't see that.
I can't see. I don't have
Yeah.
the exact piece here.
Yeah,
As far as
I
I'm
saw-
aware,
I-
Christian Perslow
yeah.
said it, and Tyrone Mings said that there was a gentleman's agreement, and it was a compromise, and it was a fair solution for everyone.
I saw
Scaloni said it was there, but he wasn't going to abide by it.
Did he actually say that? Jesus.
That's what my Google Translate said to me. Now,
Yeah.
Google Translate, once again, I don't want to be putting words in anyone's mouth. But look, it's a mess of a situation. By all accounts, Spurs are going to find the 2 players, Lo Celso and Christian Romero, when they get back.
I can't see us doing that now, but the whole thing is a farce, and FIFA should have been a lot more on top of this and not have matches played where the red zones for people to travel. That should be just set in stone from day one. They made people pay in neutral grounds and moved European Championship games during the summer. Why is this not the same? There was nobody in the stadium. Why not play in Argentina where they didn't have to quarantine from coming back from, or move to Argentina to play them in somewhere else, or play the home matches away, or whatever it is. It was just a farce.
All the games should have just been played in Europe.
Well, my whole point of the whole thing is no game should be played at all.
Yeah,
you're dragging people left, right, and center all around the world for what? Argentina and Brazil are going to fucking qualify anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like saying
4 or 5 weeks ago, Brazil was full of every single team from South America for the Copa America. Why all of a sudden is there this issue there now?
Yeah,
I know it's coming from the UK and stuff like that, but like he turned it on a sixpence 10 days out from the Copa. I think it was 10 days, 2 weeks out from the Copa, and said we'll host it. Because the other previous country said, no, listen, lads, we're not okay with this with COVID. I don't know. It's absolutely bonkers. FIFA should look into it. I think Aston Villa should look into it. I think Aston Villa should be sitting with Buendia. If you go with Argentina in October again, you're on thin ice with us.
Yeah.
I think Buendia
for fairness to the players, and there's been a lot of rhetoric about the players. For me, playing for your country is the highest accolade of your career.
He isn't playing for his country.
But I'll get to that in a second. But for the 2 of them, Emi Martinez is just. I know there's no way he's going to be knocked off his perch, but he's only just sat on that perch recently to play in goal for his country at the age of what he is, 29, 30, whatever he is now. And Emi Buendia, if he doesn't travel, Scaloni's never going to pick him again. And you've got to see it from their point of view. And I totally get it as somebody who. Well, I'm slowly changing, but I really, really buy into international football. But this is just bonkers. And it's not, we can blame Scaloni, we can blame the players, we can blame whoever you like. FIFA have a lot to answer for here because these games shouldn't be taking place.
Let's move on because we could talk about this forever and a day because it's like it's pretty polarizing as well. Like literally, is there anybody out there? Is there anybody watching this? Can anyone tell me when the last time Brazil or Argentina didn't qualify for a World Cup was?
That's my main issue. You look across the board. People were complaining about some of the European teams like Spain. Is there any doubt that Spain won't qualify? Is there any doubt that Italy won't qualify? England going to qualify at a canter. It's all set up that way. So why these guys have to travel at all is bloody beyond me. And
then let's not even talk about Qatar because the whole thing stinks from there on out as well. So here we are. And
sure, look, the whole thing is rotten. We've seen some three absolute dread. Well, I'm not even going to give them the time of day, but the performance of the 3 referees that Ireland have had in the last 3 games leaves a lot to be desired.
And in the England game, Poland game, I watched the first half. He was woeful. It was like as if he was. It was genuinely. It was like as if he was choreographed. Like he had learned what minute he wanted to whistle in, regardless of what happened in that England-Portugal, the England-Poland game. It was like as if he was on a stage show or something like that. He was ridiculous. Yeah, and this is another thing with international football. there's very few times. Yes, you might get it in World Cups or whatever like that, but certainly in qualifiers, referees are always abysmal, and they always are way too lenient to certain teams. They always fall for diving. They always fall for for innocuous challenges. They always bottle it in the home crowd situation as well. Like, that's another thing that pisses me off about international football is referees are weak-minded and are all guys who just want to they don't want to ref the game. What they want to do is they want to satisfy the guy above in the stands so they can actually get taken to the World Cup as well, because they're under too much scrutiny. They're under too much scrutiny, but they're not under enough as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And
so we had the occasion last week of Ronaldo being one goal away from equaling Ali Dai's record, and a ridiculous penalty is given. Ronaldo
punched an Irish player.
Well, he raised his hands, whatever it was. He raised his hands. Any other player on the pitch is getting a red card, and these clowns that they put up, the matches. There's nothing they could do about the Ireland goal. They had to give it. I'd say they looked at it 10,000 times on VAR before it actually went on. But the whole thing is a farce. Why they just don't qualify? Do a Eurovision effort on it. Qualify all the big clubs. And or the big countries, let them play exhibition matches around when it's safe to do so. Play exhibition matches on international weekends and let minnows like ourselves fight it out. It just doesn't make any sense to me that you're dragging people around the world when we know who's going to qualify anyway.
Like the thing about Qatar is going to be such a lottery of a World Cup anyway, because the heat is going to be unbearable, and everything else that goes with it in Qatar. Likely they're probably, I can't see there being full fans there and stuff like that. Even in 2022, it's a dry country. Are a lot of fans going to want to travel? There's a lot of issues with international football, with FIFA, and a lot, exactly, and a lot of them are legacy issues. And we could go on and on and on about this, but I did preface this as a Villa Chelsea preview, and it's probably a small bit too early, to be honest with you, to do a preview, but I was basically getting itchy and I wanted to get the microphone back on again. But we do have a game against Chelsea at the weekend, 5:30 kickoff against 5:30 kickoff against Chelsea at the weekend. And look, as I say, we did talk about the international piece because we are going to be down 2 players. Our 2 Emmys are not going to be there. Obviously, they might be down somebody as well. Looks like they're going to be without Thiago Silva, and provided the FIFA doesn't bend over for all these players. Which the likelihood is they probably will, because they know they've messed up in a lot of instances by granting a lot of these things and not being stronger on it. So Thiago Silva might be out for them, but I don't even know if that's a negative for Chelsea, Paddy, as we go into the game at the weekend.
Well, it's not only Thiago Silva. Apparently, Lukaku has picked up an injury in international duty as well.
Yeah, looking very doubtful.
One of the Havertz, I think Havertz picked up an injury too. They also have Dan James suspended, but they've an embarrassment of riches there on the bench. There's nothing for them to worry about. But when we lose our two potential, game saver in Emi Martinez and a talisman in Emi Buendia, we're in the shit. And we can only just hope with this one. That's the way I'm feeling about it. It's just all left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth for all the reasons I've said earlier. But there's a time and a place. There was no reason for those international matches for me, especially when we've seen, if you look across the board on all of those games, there's no surprises on any of the league tables. You're going to get the same crew qualifying for each tour. Like, I think England have only failed to qualify for one World Cup, was it 1994? Things like that only happen once in a very blue moon. So I just don't think the qualifiers are benefiting anybody.
They're just tune-ups. They're tune-ups really to get players in, blood players in, see what you have, see if old players have lost it, see if new players have it, and I can see the reason for that. But I didn't know about Havertz picking up an injury. That's an interesting one, because he's someone that's really kind of come into it under Thomas Tuchel. Obviously scored the winning goal in the Champions League final, and I've never seen a club. Well, maybe I have. Maybe we've done it on an occasion, but I've never seen a club to be as down on a striker as they are on Timo Werner. My God, their fans just really don't think he's anything. Timo Werner is a good player. Timo Werner will start banging in goals for somebody, but it's the I think it's symptomatic of what have you done for me lately, football, and that's all the football is really at the moment for a lot of fans, especially in fans who are used to winning things perennially, and maybe fans that weren't fans 10, 15 years ago, when football wasn't as salubrious as it is now, and teams weren't as there wasn't such a gap between teams, and from a financial point of view, Timo Werner is going to like, if he plays at the weekend, I'd be very, 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 very fearful of him. Like, Chelsea squad is still amazing. We know back through the last couple of years, Pulisic has been a tormentor in chief for us. He's come off the bench, he's changed games. Thanks be to God, and I never thought I'd say this seriously again, considering how he's played for Arsenal. But Willian, when he played with Chelsea, was just a real metronome for us. They hated Willian too, probably for right reasons, but he kept the ball moving against us. And when teams do that, they keep the ball moving against us, we get tired really, really, really quickly. Or not really quickly, but we get dragged. Sorry, not tired. We get dragged really easily. And we don't want metronomes playing against us, because the second they change pace against us, we find it difficult to do the same thing.
I've just been corrected, by the way. Havertz is actually doubtful with sickness.
It's sickness.
The person who told me earlier just texted me, no, you're wrong. He's not injured, he's sick.
So somebody with lads are saying that Kante might be out as well.
Kante is an ankle injury. He's more than likely out. Lukaku is a thigh injury. He's doubtful. Thiago Silva, they're putting down as personal reasons, which is the COVID thing coming back from Brazil. And Daniel James is suspended. But like we're Reece James, sorry. We're not without people missing ourselves. Traore, Martinez, Buendia, Konza, Ramsey, Davis, Bailey, Trezeguet, Sanson, and Mings are either doubtful or out.
Mings will play, Sanson will be there, Bailey will be there, Traore will be there. That's my uneducated opinion, and because and obviously like Ings, Watkins, they're all going to be there. And I think we see because just before we finish off with the Chelsea piece, actually, and we will come to the Aston Villa piece at the moment. Like this Chelsea team is phenomenally well coached. Phenomenally well coached. Like you talk about come in and buy your players and charismatic coaches and the Klopps of this world, who's a really good coach, the Peps of this world, who's a really good coach. My God, Thomas Tuchel is an absolute like he's a real headmaster type coach. You know, you've got Pep, who's the professor type. You've got Klopp, who's the Van Wilder party liaison type guy. You know, he's a bit of crack. He brings everyone together. He's a real man manager. He's a rah-rah manager. He's a harmony type manager. And then you've got Thomas Tuchel, who's the headmaster, who takes no shit from no one, gets his job done, has utmost respect, it seems, from the players, and like. He's brought so much more into the game of players like Christensen, the centre half. So like he's got Alonso playing brilliantly again. Azpilicueta, never in doubt, even when Lampard was there. But he's even stepped up to the mantle of leadership even more under Tuchel. He's just a really, really good manager. And like as I was saying, they're missing these players, but they're going to have players that can come in out and over and play just as well.
They're very well stacked. You know, in our prediction at the start of the season, I said Chelsea will win the league, and I think nothing to change that. Since then, they're well stacked across the board. They've plenty to come in and change that game. Even missing those 4 or 5 players, they've nothing to worry about. Us, on the other hand, are struggling a little bit. But Thomas Tuchel, I'm not expecting many goals from any of his performances. He's happy to go out and win the game 1-0, 2-0. 2-1 maybe at a worst case scenario for him, and he'd be pissed off at letting in a goal. But that's the kind of game we're looking at. And we might see a different game when we play them in the Carabao Cup, because I reckon he'll have other things on his mind than the Carabao Cup. But they're just a phenomenal team. There's so much in there, so much to offer. And you know, I still believe that they will go on and win this league this season.
You think Chelsea are going to win?
Yeah, I think they'll win handy.
Interesting. I think as the year goes on, I think this league will be becoming an awful lot more open. But who's going to win it? I'm not 100% sure. I'm definitely not sure on that one. And who's going to win it? Going on towards Aston Villa there. obviously, look, we might get to see a very, very exciting attacking lineup for Aston Villa. The swings and roundabouts of this is that Bertrand Traore didn't go on international duty, Leon Bailey didn't go on international duty, Ollie Watkins didn't go on international duty. We have all of these here as well. You know, we could have a front four that could absolutely tie this Chelsea team in knots. Now, this could be a 4-3. It could very easily be a 4-3. Now, I don't doubt. Do I really believe it's going to be a 4-3? No, I absolutely don't. But you know, it's one of those games that that anything could really happen from the standpoint of this is going to sound stupid. Anything could happen from the standpoint of anything is exactly what I was going to say. It could be a 0-0 draw. It could be a 1-1 draw. It could be a 4-3. Because I think we've had huge problems in creating chances from open play. But I think the reason we've struggled to create chances from open play is because we had a very, very definitive outlet point in Danny Ings. And look, Danny Ings is only one man. He can only do one man's job. And his strengths aren't the one up top type of guy. He needs somebody to play in there. And essentially, he doesn't want to be the one up top. He wants to be the one behind the one up top. And I think that's what we're going to see from him. I think we're going to see him more withdrawn. I think Ollie Watkins is so pivotal to this team. And I think a lot of people saying we miss Joe, but Ollie Watkins is the man. I think that we've missed an awful lot more from the start of the season because I think as the gear went on last year, we were adapting to play more towards his skills and his strength as opposed to playing without him. And playing without him is like, yes, we still scored a few goals, but getting those chances from open play have been difficult. And it's something that we really do need to look at. We really need to
we're a long way off putting out whatever our first choice 11 is, and whatever he chooses to be his first choice 11 when we've everyone fit. So we could be 5 or 6 weeks away from seeing whatever that is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a long road. Hopefully that'll be resolved by the time I get over to the Wolves match and I get to see all of these players that I've been itching to get over and see, especially those from last season. Like I've never seen Ollie Watkins play and I've never seen Emi Martinez play. So I'm itching to get over there and watch it. But this weekend is not one that floats my boat because I'm honestly very worried about it.
I can imagine so. But I'm worried and I'm excited, and I think maybe I'm excited because I'm going to be watching it in a game, and I think I'm going to be watching it in a pub, should I say? But I'll have one eye on that, and for any of our Irish fans there, I'll have another eye on Mayo and Tyrone in the All Ireland football final as well. Because if Mayo win the All Ireland, and sorry to any Tyrone people who are watching this, if Mayo win the All Ireland, I think it'll actually break off the side of Ireland and float out into the Atlantic Sea with the amount of celebrations that will happen. It's been 70 years, 71 years, 70 years, I think. Jesus. And there's a curse on Mayo for anyone. Look up the curse of 51 to do.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if that happened? We wouldn't have to listen to them. We just blow it off.
Paddy's still sour. Paddy's still sour.
I'm not sour at all. I won money on Mayo in the semi-final. I'm not sour at all.
Did you?
I did,
Jesus. Jesus. Look, it's a bit of crack. I think it would be fantastic for them. But anyway, look, we're not here to talk about that. But I think the reason I was saying that I'm looking forward to this game against Chelsea at the weekend is because I think there's a lot of positives can come for this. We're going to be missing our goalkeeper. I'm terrified of long shots. I'm going to be absolutely every long shot that comes in, I'm going to be terrified. In the preseason, we saw Jed Steer couldn't hold water from long shots, and there was a couple of things he did were a bit crazy. I'm not too sure about him, put it this way. But then again, he could save 2 penalties.
He's had his few preseason games. He played against Barrow. He's going to be in there at the weekend unless something magical happens and they change everything. But I can't see that happening at this stage. I'd like to know where Buendia and Martinez are and what the plans are to get them back in and get them training with the team again, because everything is just up in the air at this stage. So we'll just have to wait and see what Dino says on Friday.
Macadamia says Ings equals Firmino, Watkins equals Sané, Bailey equals Salah. Yeah. Maybe possibly. Watkins equals Salah, Bailey equals Mane. We're splitting hairs here. I know what you're trying to say is the three out now, three kind of attacking forwards. Like that is definitely the way that we could play. We could pick up like that. Once again, guys, once again, it's going to come down to what the hell can we do in midfield. Jacob Ramsey didn't travel. He's in COVID issues, which will work in our favour. He will be back as far as I'm aware. John McGinn has played. He had a spark. He had a really good game actually for Scotland. I'm looking forward to seeing him come back. Douglas Luiz didn't go. He's not one of the one that was caught up because he wasn't picked in the squad. And then you've got Morgan Sanson, who I think is going to be fit as well. He might even get some time off the bench. So look, there's, as I say, there is huge opportunity here for Aston Villa. And think of it this way, right? I'm just going to throw it out there. Yes, we didn't beat Watford. Yes, we didn't beat Brentford. But imagine if we beat Chelsea.
Well, that's how we finished the end of last season. So who knows?
The reason I'm saying that is because, like, I'm not one of these people that, like, and I have said it before, but the more I think about it, I don't care where we get our points from as long as we get them. And I don't think anybody else should either. You know, if we amass enough points, I'm kind of gone past the point of, like, the Premier League is getting better. And I think the snobbery of the Premier League, and Jesus, I've been snobbish against teams like the likes of Brighton, the likes of whoever else. You know, I've been snobbish against them, and I've kind of written teams off and they've gone out and they've done us over. Leeds last year, I said, Leeds thing won't last. You know, next thing they bang 3-0 against Leeds at the start. Same with Brighton. You know, that's not. I was always thinking that's not sustainable, but the league is becoming sustainable in the fact that mid teams and lower teams can actually challenge the top guy. Look, we're not a top guy, but they can challenge us. So unless you're City, Chelsea, Liverpool, probably United this year as well. United's team is absolutely phenomenal. You know, unless you're one of those four guys, you're beatable. You're absolutely beatable by anybody else in the league, and everybody. Those four guys have a target in their back, and I think we're going to go. And I think these last 2 weeks, I think we'll have been like snakes in the grass. I think we're going to give Chelsea a good game at the weekend. And I'm not going to write us off winning it. I know I've been relaxed for the last couple of days. I think it's been fantastic, and I've been on my flat on my back with, having some R&R, but it's not against the realms of possibility that Aston Villa are in a better position to play Chelsea this weekend than Chelsea are to play Aston Villa.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that, but what I do agree with is anything is possible, and we've shown that over the last 12 months since the beginning of last season by turning over the likes of Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal. So I wouldn't be backing against us or anything, but I just with the whole two Emmys missing and all the injuries and everything else, is just I'm still a little bit deflated because I'm just so anxious to get everybody back on the training field and everybody working together. And it just seems like it's so far off. It's just when one door seems to open and somebody's back, then somebody else is gone, and it's just hard to take at the moment. We just can't buy a bit of luck at the moment.
You know, with the injuries, like what injuries do we have coming into this game that we're 100% certain will not play this game? Now, obviously, taking the two Emmys aside.
Well, that's as good as an injury, though. You know, you've got two definite starters there that aren't playing.
But we know they're definitely not going to be playing. So,
yeah.
Like, I would be absolutely blown away if one of Bertrand Traore, Leon Bailey didn't start. Watkins will definitely start. There was stuff about him having a hernia operation online. I think it was confirmed to be absolute horse shit, if I'm not mistaken. See, this is the thing. Like, this there's more and more of this stuff that's just popping up, and like we've already spoken about two things: Estonia and the passport cards. That must be absolute horse.
It has to be shite. Jesus,
Watkins,
Google would have sorted that out. You know,
I heard about the Watkins thing and did a bit of prying around. You did a bit of prying around. No one can confirm nor deny that about Watkins. But Sanson did play a couple of games. Played against what's his name? What are their names? Help me out here, Paddy. What's their names? Wickham. Sanson played 45 minutes.
He did for the under-23s.
Yeah.
He did. So he should be okay to play, you'd imagine. Trezeguet is definitely out. Bailey, doubtful. Davis is definitely out. Philogene Bidace is doubtful. He came back from under-23s or under-21s in a boot. Yeah,
I think he's
Aaron
definitely
Ramsey,
out.
or Jacob Ramsey, we're not 100% sure where he is with the COVID thing. We got to hope that that's all sorted. Ezri Konsa is more than likely out with that injury, judging by just reading between the lines. and
I forgot
Bertrand
all about
Traore.
Kanza. Forgot about
There you
him.
go. So there's a lot of decisions in every aspect of this team picking exercise. You know,
Well, the one thing I'd say about Kanza is in that instance there is that maybe the reason I did forget about him is that Mings and Tuanzebe have previous. You know, they do have an understanding. Let's just say, I think from the time that they played together.
But you got to think that Konza is our first choice, so he's missing. So it's another team building exercise between here and the weekend to get them on the pitch and training together and working together. So it's going to be an interesting team selection on Saturday. I think there's going to be a couple of surprises because obviously we don't know where people are at, but we'll see what Dean has to say on Friday. But particularly the likes of Villa, Jean Badace, Aaron Ramsey, that we want to look at and see where they are.
Yeah, and I think I think look. Took a break from podcasting, and now I'm here already going, let's do a podcast every day for the next fucking 5 years. That's what's going on in the back of my mind now. Because like I just, it's getting these 15, 20 minutes, half an hour's 36 minutes and counting that we're in at the moment. They're really, really interesting, and like we script nothing before we go on, which is the most fantastic part. The only thing I might script is I'll know that I'll be able to poke Paddy with something, and then I'll drive him mad, and I'll start telling him he's wrong, and then I'll sit back and I'll laugh. That's probably the only thing we do script, but but it's not scripted. It's scripted on my half. Paddy knows nothing about it. But, as you said there, that it's like I think Friday will tell an awful lot. Like, I would be absolutely shattered if Bertrand Traore and Buendia weren't fit to play. Because I think if they're not fit to play, we are like
Traore and Bailey. I mean,
what did I say?
Traore and Buendia.
Traore and Bailey, yes, yeah. If they weren't fit to play, I think we would be. I'd be looking to say we'd be in massive trouble. But look, the fans need to see them.
Yeah. Well, it loses the unpredictability of what we have on the wings.
It's like there's a great point here from David Miller as well, is with Bailey being available. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I've thought since he signed that he'd be a star man on occasion. Stage is set for him. Look, we will be 4 games into Aston Villa post Jack Grealish. Look, and I know we're bringing him up again, and like we try not to, but when Bailey was brought,
you have to bring him up because we're recovering from the hangover of what he's left. So,
or the 10 steps,
no apologies for bringing him up.
But we haven't. But like this is the thing: the person that we brought in, the guy that we brought in, the person that was heralded as our new left wing magician. We haven't seen him. We saw him for 20 minutes. He set up a goal. Against Watford. We need to see more of him. We've been incredibly unlucky. And look, there's a lot of people out there. I read a post online during the week that said one of the worst person that somebody ever saw play for Aston Villa was Bertrand Traore. Now, either that person has only started watching Aston Villa since September of last year, or they are wildly, wildly, wildly contrarian, because Bertrand Traore is a fine player. Yes, he does some crazy stuff. Yes, he does some infuriating stuff. But I think we'll see some like the unpredictability that he brings from an attacking point of view. And I think he'll be allowed to attack more this year. And I think the onus in him having to track back will probably be less and less and less over the course of this year. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a front line with the pace, the power, the unpredictability, as we say, and the movement of those 4 people, because I think it will be a front line of 4, and I think Ings will be dropping back into midfield, and I think we're going to be open in midfield, but I think we've just resigned ourselves to this. So if people are looking for a 4-4-2, personally, I don't know what to tell you. I could be 100% wrong, but I don't think there's going to be a 4-4-2. In this, I don't think it's going to be 4-4-2 on Saturday at all.
It definitely won't be on Saturday. I don't see it.
I don't think I would say if we see 4-4-2 more than 5 times this season, it'll be a miracle. I just don't see it. I just can't see it. I just think it's too much of a change in philosophy from Dean Smith, and you hear the way the club want everyone to play the same from the bottom up and from the top down. I just think it's too much of a change. And I think the personnel can play the system that he has in more of a kind of a 4-2-3-1. But look, we're spitballing here. we'll have to see if these players are even fit first. But I think if they are fit at the weekend, the likes of the likes of Bailey and the likes of Traore are massive assets. And I think that Chelsea are hoping that both of those aren't fit, because no fullback wants to play them, and no team that plays a back three will want to play against those two guys, because they're going to get in around, and then when you have the movement of Ollie Watkins, there will be holes opened up in a back three just from that pace alone. Back threes hate playing against pace. That the reason that they're played is sometimes to counteract pace, but they absolutely hate playing against pace, because, and especially with the Chelsea one, they're going to have they're most likely will have Azpilicueta in there as a fullback. Yes, he's well versed in playing in a back three, but he's going to be in there. And if they don't have Thiago Silva, they won't have Kurt Zouma. Could be open season there and moving people around the place.
We never know.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's why they play the games. But I think, Paddy, if you're around on Friday, we might pop on again for 10 minutes or so, because I think it would be interesting to dissect what Dean Smith says. He doesn't usually give an awful lot away, but I think I would like to bask in the positivity if he does say that X, Y, and Z player is available, because at the moment we're talking a lot in hypotheticals, and but I think this I wouldn't. I'm going to try my best not to get too well. Actually, I don't need to try usually not to get dragged down, because I'm normally sunny side out, glass half full guy. But yes, Emi Martinez is a huge loss. I don't think Buendia is as big a loss as people are if we have those two guys back.
Well, where he becomes a big loss is if we don't have Bailey and Traore. So that's my big worry, and that's
or even Sanson. I think
possibly.
Like Sanson, if you were to
we still have a lot to see from him, and I'm excited about him, because he is like he's like a new signing, and it'll be interesting to see how he pans out. But there will be opportunities for him, and I definitely see him starting in the Carabao Cup game. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm glass half full heading into this weekend because of what's going on behind the scenes, and I seem to be glass half full since the season started. Because just
glass half empty, you mean? Because you've been a bit more pessimistic than usually.
Well, sorry, glass half empty. Yeah. But look, it's that's just a hangover from losing Jack and trying to reestablish what we have and who's going to play where, and we still don't know in Dean Smith's head what way our starting 11, if everyone is fit, is going to pan out, and that's what's agitating and grinding on me at the moment. So I just want to fast forward 6 weeks or so and see everybody fit. With obviously Trezeguet won't be, but everybody else will be fit that's available to us, you would imagine. And hopefully we don't pick any more bloody injuries up, because I'm just sick of bad news at this stage. We just can't buy a bit of luck compared to last season where we had the likes of Ollie Watkins ever present, so many near ever presence on the team. This season has just been a shit show with COVID and everything else with it. So fingers crossed that we get a bit of luck and we get back to some kind of normality in the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's been great to pop on and chat today, guys. Look, I suppose realistically, if we're being honest, there's no real news to talk about, but it's really just all been opinion today. It's all been pent up hot takes, if you want to take them. It's been anger, I suppose, with the international situation, which I think everybody can agree is completely and utterly farcical. But I think the biggest thing here is that, and I want to kind of leave it, is that, we've mentioned some names here that should give us hope, like Buendia, Sanson. Like, without not having Buendia, Sanson is very much in the same mold as a Buendia. They play the same way. You've got a Bailey, you've got a Bertrand Traore, as I say. We get to see Watkins and Ings potentially together at the top. This game at the weekend holds treasure trove of potential for Aston Villa, and let's catch them cold coming out of an international game. Let's catch them from the long grass, and I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing what Dean Smith says on Friday as well. That's kind of going to do it. Paddy, we didn't miss anything else, did we? I don't think we missed anything else.
No, don't think so.
Oh, good.
Just hope that anyone that was involved over the last few days comes back fit and ready for the weekend. That's all.
Well, the good thing is that the Tyrone Mings, the good thing for us is Tyrone Mings was suspended for tonight's game, so he didn't even have to do the warm-up. So anytime they don't have to put on a pair of boots at the moment is a good thing, because we don't want anybody getting injured. So
exactly, and it it means he didn't get on an airplane either, hopefully.
Yes, yeah, that means he didn't get an airplane, so therefore he's less likely to get COVID, which is always good for us too. But and safe home to all our players and to all our staff. Well, actually, Master McPhee didn't go anywhere, so safe home to all our players. But it's going to be really, really exciting. And look, the worst thing about this is we've only got another 2 or 3 weeks before we have to go through all this nonsense again. But we will talk about that later. Thanks very much, everybody, for listening. Thanks, everybody, so much for popping on it after 10 o'clock after an England game. I don't even know what the result was in the England game. If anybody has it, let us know. But
presume it's finished 1-0. May have missed something at the end, but they were.
No, I didn't even know it was 1-0. I didn't even know it was 1-0. But thanks, everybody, for listening, tuning in after that game. As I say, we will be back potentially with a small show on Friday night, depending if there's anything groundbreaking comes from Dean Smith's interview. And also, we will be back with a team sheet tantrum, and you may see me in a bit more of an inebriated state at that stage, because I will be doing it from a pub and I will be out and about. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. So there will be no holds.
England drew 1-1, Neil.
1-1. Okay.
A 92nd minute equaliser.
Jesus, like ourselves. I hope it wasn't an absolute, like the goal that Ireland got in the 90 whatever minute last night was
calamity.
God, that's like people have said when gets luck, when Stephen Kenny gets luck, everybody better watch out. Well, that's as lucky as you're going to get, I think, to that goal last night. It's pretty lucky goal now, in fairness. But listen, guys, we're going to leave it at that. Going to see you all later on in the week and over the weekend. Thanks so much for everything you do. Let's hope all the Villa boys get home safe, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.